Hi, Mini Makers. It's Heather with Running with Scissors, and today you are making this sitting bunny as your mini maker project. Let's get started. So, in your bag or box, you have your wood pieces, and you'll see that you have a variety of pieces here, and we're not going to use all of them, but this is so you can make your bunny look however you want to make your bunny look. Now, you also have a little bottle of glue. Yours might be in a little bit of a different kind of container. You have a swab or a Q-tip for putting your glue on. You have a yellow sponge that we're gonna paint the bunny with. And then you have 4 half white sponges, and that's what we're gonna paint all of these little pieces with, or whatever pieces you decide to use. Then you also have 4 small pods of paint. Small pods of paint are to paint all these small pieces. And then you have a container of white to paint your bunny. You should grab a paper plate so you can put some paint on it. And also, I always have my baby wipes because baby wipes come in handy if you make a mistake or to wipe your hands off on. And you should not need any scissors or anything else today. So let's get started painting. All right, so the first thing that I think you should do is decide how you want your bunny to look. That way you're only painting the pieces that you need. So what you see right here, the bunny, the little bunny hands, the banner with the letters HOP to spell hop, those are the fixed pieces. Those are the pieces that you'll for sure be using, okay? And then you'll also have this 2-piece base, and this is what the bunny sits in. So we'll do that at the very end. But all of these pieces over here are pieces that you get to choose. So do you want him to have square glasses? Or maybe you want him to have sunglasses? So if he has sunglasses on, you won't be able to see his eyes, so you won't use any of those eye pieces. But if he's gonna have square glasses on, then you've got these little eyes you can put in there. Or maybe you don't want him to have any glasses at all, and therefore he'd have, or she'd have, some eyes with some big eyelashes, right? Okay, or maybe just plain eyes if your bunny is more of a dude, more of a boy bunny, then maybe you just have plain old eyes. All right, I like the glasses, so I'm going to put the glasses with the little eyes in it like that for myself. Now, you can have a nose that already has a mouth on it. Or maybe you have a heart for a nose and that's it. Or maybe you just like that nose. I'm gonna go with, let's see. I'm gonna do that nose and the mouth. And then your other options are a bow tie. So maybe you don't like this nose and you go with the bow tie and just a little heart nose. Or maybe you put the bow tie on his ear. Or maybe you don't use the bow tie at all. That's totally up to you. You also have a bow that's more girly. You could put the bow on her ear. Or you could put the bow right between her ears. And then you have some flowers. If your bunny wants some flowers across her ear. So you have options. So I want you to decide what you want to use. What pieces do you want to use? And those are the pieces that you're going to paint. Anything that you don't paint, just set aside, or anything you're not using, just set aside. And you can use it for something else, or maybe you can just paint it for fun. All right, so these are the pieces that I'm going to paint. So first of all, I want to paint my bunny first. So I'm going to move all of the pieces I decided I was going to paint and use off to the side. And I'm going to paint this guy first. And I'm going to use my soft yellow sponge. And I'm just going to take my container of paint and I'm going to put some on my plate. Then I'm gonna dip my yellow sponge into that paint, and I'm going to swipe it onto my bunny, just like this. Don't worry about those lines that are cut in there. They're just for decoration. I'm just swiping back and forth. I don't have a lot of paint on my sponge. That way my paint will dry real quick and I can go back and put on a second coat. All right, I'm gonna let that guy dry. I'm gonna paint his hands. And I'm gonna let those dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to start painting some of these other pieces over here. Now our bunny still needs another coat, but we've gotta let him dry. So I'm gonna take and I'm gonna open all of my pods of paint. And I'm just gonna set them on my plate because I'll just dip my sponges into them. All right. So I'm gonna take one of my sponges and I'm going to start painting my letters or start painting my pieces. I'm gonna start with my banner pieces. I'm gonna do a little bit of an ombre effect on those. And if you haven't done ombre with us before, well, now you're gonna learn. So ombre is when I have multiple colors and I'm gonna change color on the piece. So this is gonna be purple and maybe a little bit of pink. So first I'm gonna paint all of these purple. And I'm just using a tiny little bit of paint and I'm pouncing my paint because I don't want lots and lots of it. You could swipe your paint as well. You could swipe like this. That's fine as well. And now that paint is still a little bit wet and that's okay. I'm gonna use the same sponge and I'm grabbing a tiny little bit of pink. You see how little? Just a little bit of pink. And then I'm gonna come in the middle and I'm gonna start swiping that pink in. And I'm just gonna blend it really lightly. So it's just a little purple and a little pink. You gotta do it real light or else you'll blend all the colors together. So real light. Real light touch. Now if your paint had dried a little bit, your purple, just put a little more purple on there so it's wet. And then just grab a little tiny bit of pink, just a little bit. Start at the bottom and then swipe up and across. Move up and across. Just like that. You see that? Okay. And those are our banner pieces. I think I'm going to paint the HOP, this teal color here. And I think I'm going to paint his glasses this teal color, but I might put a little bit of white in it. So I'm just pouncing the sponge onto the pieces. I'm not putting it on real heavy. You can see I'm getting the paint on my sponge, and then I'm coming over to my paper plate and I'm pouncing on my paper plate a little bit. And that's just so I take off any excess paint on my sponge. I don't want a lot of paint. I don't need a lot of paint. Heavy paint doesn't dry, and heavy paint makes a mess. So there are my letters. Now it needs 2 coats, so I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start my H again. If you use a very little amount of paint, it will be dry in just a minute. But you can't have lots of paint. Okay, so there's my HOP, my hop. Now I'm gonna come back to my bunny because he's ready for his second coat of paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a second coat of paint on my bunny pieces. Right, so there's my bunny with his second coat, and that's all we need to do to him. He's going to just dry while we finish painting. So now I'm going to move on to my glasses, and remember I said I was going to paint my glasses the same color as my hop, only I was going to make it a little bit lighter. And so now I'm just grabbing, I'm using that same sponge I used for hop, and I'm grabbing a little bit of white that's left on my plate from painting my bunny, and I'm just going to pounce that onto my glasses until it evens out. Now my glasses will need 2 coats, so I'm not worried about getting it perfect right now. Right now I just want to get that first coat on, and it might look a little splotchy, but that's okay. All right, so we're gonna set this sponge aside and we're going to work on our nose. I'm gonna take another half sponge and I'm going to paint my eyes black. I'm going to paint just this part black. The other part I'm going to paint pink. Okay, so just that part. And now I'm going to grab another wedge and I'm going to use my pink paint. And I'm going to paint my bow. And I'm going to paint my nose like I said. And I think my eyes might need another coat, so I'm going to put another coat of black on my eyes. And let's do the mouth real quick while we've got our black out. And then let's let that dry. I'm gonna come over to my flower here. I'm gonna paint, I'm gonna paint the center flower purple, I think. And then I will paint the other ones each a different color. So I'm just gonna grab my purple sponge that I was using with my purple and my pink paint. And I'm gonna put a little more purple paint on it. And I'm just gonna pounce that. And I'm gonna grab my pink sponge and paint one of the flowers pink. And then I'll paint the other flower that teal color. Just like that. And then let's see, my glasses are the last thing here. So my glasses need another coat. I just grabbed a little bit of that turquoise and a little bit of white. I guess it's teal, not turquoise. Who knows? Whichever. That shade, green. And then there's my glasses. So all of my pieces are painted. I think my bow and my nose might need one more coat. So let's give those one more coat. And then we'll have to do our base piece. There's one coat on the, or second coat on the bow, and let's give the nose a second coat. All right, now we gotta paint our base. And now you can paint your base whatever color you wanna paint it. I think I'm gonna paint mine pink. And you only need to paint the top piece that has that slot in it because the bottom piece gets covered. All right, so we just need to paint this piece here. I'm painting mine pink if I didn't say that. Okay. And there's our base. All right, now we gotta let that base dry, and if it needs another coat, we need to give it another coat, but otherwise, as soon as everything's dry, we're ready to glue. So make sure your hands are cleaned up of all your paint, and once your hands are clean, we can glue everything together. Okay, let's get ready to glue everything together. So if you have a tube of glue, you can just squeeze some out onto your plate, and you'll use the Q-tip to put the glue on your pieces. All right, the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna slide everything off to the side and bring our bunny right down in front of us so we can see what we're doing. And we wanna take and we wanna put our pieces on our bunny where they're gonna go before we glue them down. That way we know where every piece needs to go, and so we do not glue something in the wrong spot and not have room. All right, so let's put our hands and our banner on, and let's put our glasses or our eyes or whatever other pieces you decided to use. Let's get those put on there and just lay them where you want to put them, where you want them to go. All right, now I don't have to put my eyeballs in my glasses right now because my glasses are marking the spot. And the same with the HOP. You don't have to put that on your banner pieces yet because your banner's marking the spot. All right, so now we're gonna take one piece at a time, and we're gonna lift it up, and we're gonna put some glue on it, and we're gonna set it back down. All right, so I just got some glue on my swab, and I'm just rubbing that around on my piece. I don't have very much. And then I'm gonna put my piece back down where it goes. And he has to sit there for about 5 minutes. It takes about 5 minutes for this glue to set up. So just work one piece at a time. Remember, don't put a lot of glue on your pieces because it will squish out a little bit. Don't need a whole lot. Okay, all my pieces on my bunny are glued, and now I've got to glue my base pieces together. So I'm gonna take the piece that I painted, the piece that has the slot in it, and I'm gonna put some glue around that outside edge there. And then I'm gonna take and I'm gonna press it down on the other piece. I'm just gonna take my hands, my fingers, and I'm gonna make sure that it's all even. So like all the edges are lined up. And I'm just squeezing that together, just making sure that the edges are lined up. And that's gotta dry for just a minute. All right, so let's let this sit for 5 minutes and we'll come back and we'll pop that bunny into the base. See you in 5 minutes. Okay, all of our pieces are dry, so now we're just ready to pop our bunny into our base. So this little tab here is gonna just slide right into this tab, just like that. And then you'll stand your bunny up. Now it's hard for me to show you him standing up because you're seeing an overhead view from the camera, but this is what he will look like. All right, good job, Mini Makers. Hope you had fun, and we'll see you next time.